Okay, so today we got a bit of an interesting video. We got a video based on a tweet that I made. The tweet states, drop a Legends take that people might give you slack for, but you believe is 100% true. I said I'll start. If Ultra Vegito Blue was blue or purple, he'd had been #1 to even now. Then I wrote at the bottom, might use for a video, and I just used a picture of Ultra Vegito Blue because that's what my take was about. But of course, the Legends community, we all have our own opinions. You might believe this, you might believe that. You have a little debate about it. You might become enemies at the end of it, or you might stay friends. Regardless, even if it's somebody you know or don't know, in the comment section, on Twitter, on Discord, we all have different opinions, different experiences, so we believe different things. And in this case, we're going to be talking about the hottest takes that people may believe, but not everybody would necessarily agree with. I might do something like this more in the future. The community has grown a bit, so I'm able to do videos like this. So what I advise you do, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It's Zakashi with 3 eyes. I tweet every day there. There's some funny tweets, some good tweets, some takes. I ask for opinions, a lot of things that you might get on Twitter, and there's also community there in the replies. So hey, it's a good time on Twitter, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes toxic, but that's also part of the fun. Let's get into this video, man. Right, so this is the first tweet that we have here. It's from BLZ151101. You guys might know him as the guy that makes the animations, the ultra concept arts, but he makes a lot of good art on Twitter revolving around Dragon Ball, so definitely go ahead and give him a follow because I've used his art in the thumbnails before and in videos. But he says here, this is the superior USS team, referring to Universe Survival Saga or Universe Rep, and he's put Evil Ken, he's got 17, and he's got Jiren. Now, I actually agree with this take. I agree with this take. I think it's 100% factual, but a lot of people disagree with it because they feel like Jiren isn't necessary and Go Frieza would work more optimally. But really and truly, or from my point of view, and I feel like the overall consensus is that Jiren's disruption, explosive green, and endurance is what makes this team deadly, because you get the double endurance and the unit with the longest combos in the game. You don't need a second Evo Ken in a sense, where Go Frieza will do the same job Evo Ken can do. Go Frieza does have the anti-rush, but of course it can be avoided. So you kind of got to think about it with the guaranteed endurance that you'll get with Jiren, even though a lot of units will nullify endurance, but I'm just putting it out there, which is why I think this team is better. 17 does his disruption as well, comes with endurance, his good factors, his gauge is dope, and Evo Ken, their combos are so long they're gonna pretty much break you down. I agree with this one, so I'm gonna put agreeable. I'm gonna put disagreeable, if that's a word. I don't think it is, but we'll be using it. So I think this is mostly agreeable, even though it's a hot take. But let me know what you guys think about every take in this video, if anything. Or if there's one that stands out the most, let me know. Right, so we got the second one here is from Dugo, and he says Janemba #1, and no beast doesn't argue it, it's just Janemba. I think this is just mostly disagreeable. It's not that Janemba is bad, because I feel like when you disagree with something about #1, it automatically makes the assumption that, oh, this unit is bad, or you dislike this unit. I just feel like most people wouldn't even put Janemba top 2, and that's just like, I don't really need to go into that. It's not Janemba's bad, but like Evo Ken, Beast, it's one of those taking the crown, and I think that's just mostly agreeable. But of course, this is meant to be a hot take, so some hot takes could actually be agreeable if you really just sit down and go, but I feel like no matter how long we sit down, we could be sat down for an hour, 2 hours, a day, you still won't get me to believe that Janemba is #1, and I feel like most people would agree with that, so I'm gonna put disagreeable. Like, if that's a hot take and it's staying hot, it's not cooling down ever. That's how I'm looking at that one. We got this next take from Adam Owns 6, and he says LF tag androids have aged amazingly well and are super underrated and can still put in work against the new Legends Fest units. This unit here is super OP, right? Their fundamental kit is insane. I just feel like their damage has definitely fallen off. They might need a few Zenkai buffs, and their element might put them down a bit because obviously there's a lot of good blues. But I feel like if you get the green card off, it's enough to pretty much keep them above water. So I will actually say this is mostly agreeable, but it really just depends on how many stars you have them. They're super good, and obviously I'd say they've aged well because of what their fundamental kit can do. But I'm not gonna sit here and come and say they're like top 10, even top 15, but they're not trash by any means, especially if you have them at a decent star level, or specifically if you have them at a decent star level. If you don't, then you might be cooked. But yeah, I'd say this is mostly agreeable. Not too bad, not too bad. We got a take here from Ares, but it says Miller Jamal, and he says these 4 units have the best animations in the game. Let's look at it. So we got Jeese and Berta, we got Captain Ginyu, Gammas 1 and 2, and Rakuma and Gildo. Now, do I agree? Would I say this is mostly agreeable? I'd have to disagree immediately. MUI Goku exists, right? Let's start there. Let's start there. That one is insane. Regardless of how annoying he is, like the motion is good. All of the Ultra Instinct motions are good. So I think if we're talking animations, because these are not LFs, right? We're talking about all the animations. I think all of the Ultra Instinct forms just slap up these 4. Clear. So automatically, I think it's just disagreeable. It doesn't matter what you show me, the Ultra Instinct users are top 3 when it comes to animations. And I'm not even gonna say they're actually top 3. There could be some better, but I don't have any in mind. But those I know very vividly in my brain, which is why I'd have them at 1, 2, and 3 just off rip without actually analyzing. I don't need to see what these guys can do. So I'm gonna put this one as disagreeable. This one here, Orange Piccolo's Disrupt pre and post revival is better than PyCon/Gogeta. Specifically referring to the Disrupt, you can have it. If you didn't say Disrupt, I would hardly be able to agree. But because you're talking about specifically Disrupt, Piccolo does that. Piccolo does that. Like, that's his job. He's not a super offensive unit. Super Gogeta is meant to be. PyCon is the Disrupt person, but even then, PyCon's not that great anyways. So I can agree with this. I think this is mostly agreeable. This is not that super hot in my opinion because of you specified Disrupt. We got a take here from Legends 566182273. He says, or she says, or they say, Gok is individually #1 in the game, but due to teams, he falls in the top 3. Now, I didn't even put them in top 3, so I think they're like top 4. But, and that's even pushing it, they could be top 5. But top 1 individually, no. Just no. They do have good elements, they do have explosive green, but one thing they lack in is the fact that they do not have any vanish recovery. Vanish recovery is so important in having an individual kit. So just off that, I would say no. And just to counter them even harder, there is a tweet that literally counters any value this unit has even as an individual, given that their kit focus is their indestructible. But let me show you it quick. So this page here tweeted, yeah, it's a Japanese player. But look at this. The indestructible kicks in, and then when it kicks in, Beast transforms, and there's a drop combo tech that you can do no matter what you have as an indestructible. The combo drops, so the indestructible is going to wear off. Then the person's going to tag switch, and Beast is just going to do a blue card, and no matter what, you will die. Beast is taking out half your health in 99% of take. Like, trying to put them #1, that's super ridiculous in my opinion. Disagreeable, probably the most disagreeable one yet. We got this one as well. We got Not Faye. It says the more centric. Okay, might be a hot take, but they got the Baku better than Evoken. For the same reason I just explained, no, it's not. This is not the case. These guys have vanish recovery, their gauge is easily accessible. The indestructible here is just a stink I already showed you. The 2 element switch is good, but then going back to here, the longest combos in the game, gonna do more damage in the long run. Cover No is more accessible than this, just a green card. Just way better overall here. Also just a better team here as well. Even if it's an individual kit basis, I would still disagree because no vanish recovery. So yeah, I'd say this is mostly disagreeable. Here we have Speed Handles saying Blue Beast still top 10 if used with Pan. I think a lot of people might actually agree with this, but at the same time, I have to say it's disagreeable. The red beast has just taken the blue beast off the map, and there's so many other combinations that you could pair them with Pan. So if you're comparing everybody on an individual basis versus beast with Pan, I guess so, sure. But that's making it unfair. So if you just put other people with their situation and you're using blue beast with Pan, I'd say people just say no. It's not that blue beast is bad, you could still use them and get very far, but top 10 is a bit of a push. There's a lot of good units in top 10, and the teams that are being formed right now, I can't accept this one. Here we have Pedrito Castro 0. Android 17 is no longer top 10. I'm sorry, but it's so overrated. Right now is only good above 10 stars and questionable. Here I have to put a straight away disagreeable. I feel like the average person runs into 17 at least twice every 5 games. There's other characters that you would want to try argue instead of 17 to put into the top 10, but you're not seeing them in PvP. But not to say that just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not good. But clearly if someone's being used, it's because they fulfill a certain role on a certain team. Sometimes it could be biased, but I don't feel like 17 is popular enough to even try push that biased narrative like some cases would be. For example, Gogeta and Vegeta, when people have pretty much seen that they may be outdated, you could push the bias because people are using them because they're fusions. But LL17, you can't even use that argument, man. He fits so well on Universe Rep. Even if you have him at 3 stars, what he does for the team is super, super good. Maybe you could find use somewhere else if you have him higher stars, but he's been out for a year. So the average person would have him at high stars. So really and truly, saying he's only good above 10 stars and questionable is ridiculous in my opinion. You really have to think about what type of team you're building, what type of equipments you're using. And I think even at 10 stars, 9 stars up, he's doing what you need him to do, undeniably. It just depends on your playstyle and how you really work around it. You gotta really think about what team you're using, man. This one, I think, is super disagreeable, super disagreeable. Raphael Zamoth, overpowered units like Janemba and UVB are bad for the game because newer players don't bother to learn the mechanics of the game and don't even read their kits. See, I was agreeing with you, but why you said the reason is, I think, is disagreeable. Blaming experienced players because newer players don't want to put in the effort to learn the game is a stupid way to go about things. I think that's just stupid. And that might sound harsh to say, but games are skill-based for a reason. You're meant to develop and become better. It's ranked PvP, ranked. You know that means the best is number 1, and if you're worse off, you're lower. If you create OP units, everybody should be able to actually level up and then also work with them in the same way that people that are experienced, right? If you don't read kits, that's your own. If you don't learn mechanics, that's your own. So I'd say this part, bad for the game. Depending on your reasons why, I would agree. But the reason you gave, I have to harshly disagree. I'd say that's very disagreeable, but I would agree in certain instances that I'd say that overpowered units like Janemba and UVB are bad for the game. So the first half I'd say is agreeable. The second half is just disagreeable. It just doesn't make sense to me. We got Land Ag with an N, Landon. Legends is not a good game, and everyone's judgment is clouded by it being a Dragon Ball game. Also, Rising Rush is the worst mechanic literally effing ever. It sucks so bad. So I'll address this first part, right? Legends is not a good game and the judgment is clouded by it being a Dragon Ball game. I have to disagree. The reason why I disagree is because you can't find me another Dragon Ball game on the App Store that is as high quality as Dragon Ball Legends in terms of its animations, the way it works. Most anime games from the App Store that I've seen, which is why I don't play other anime games on mobile or games on mobile at all, are usually turn-based. Turn-based games, I really dislike them, me personally, and I feel like a lot of players that play Legends, or the player base in general, likes Legends because it's live movement. We can both attack at the same time. In a turn-based game, you have to let yourself get hit or put yourself in the position of where the enemy can make a decision against your will. You literally have to wait for them to have their turn, and you might lose some health out of it, but it's more strategic that way. But in Dragon Ball Legends, it's live movement. Why, as a live movement type of player, where I play games like Call of Duty, this is just my personal taste, but Call of Duty, FIFA, any sports game, console, you get what I'm saying? I'm moving on to mobile now. Why would I let my opponent hit me? That question rings so hard in my head when I think about turn-based game. Why would I let my opponent hit me? So just the fact that you can't compare Legends to any other game, I think the first bit is just wrong. Clouded by Dragon Ball, you can apply that in some instances, but again, it's preference anyways. So I'd say this is mostly disagreeable. As much as people hate the gacha aspect and things like that, the actual gameplay is very, very good. I'd say it's a super good game. So I have to say that's disagreeable. But the second part, Rising Rush is the worst mechanic. It's not worse, it's just, I wouldn't say it's the worst mechanic, but it has some double-edged sword points with it. There's some places where it's super helpful because there's a lot of super unfair things in the game like that they know exist, but the Rising Rush can like balance it out. But in some cases, the Rising Rush could actually be the worst thing as well. So I could see that one. I could say this is mostly agreeable. I'm not going to disagree too harshly with the second one. I'd say the second point is mostly agreeable, but the first point I'd say is very strongly disagreeable. We got this take from AJ Azukai YT. Currently, part 1 and 2 of the 5th anime was better celebration wise than part 1, part 2 of Legends Fest so far. What will swing it Legends Fest favor is if they go crazy in part 3. Let me really process that. So in anniversary, 5th anniversary, right, they dropped Gold Freezer part 1 and the release was mid. Don't forget the release was mid. Then they gave Gold Freezer the buff Beyond Heaven and Hell, making him the #1 unit, which actually made things a lot worse anyways because they didn't deserve that. And there was already Jiren, Kawaii, and Carcerel, which all 3 of them were seeing some usage in PvP, maybe not so much Carcerel, but people were using him because he was a new unit. Part 2, we got Orange Piccolo, Gammas 1 and 2, Double Banner. Festival Part 1, we got the Double Banner, Beast, Evoken. Gotenks, Golden Frieza. I'd have to give it, I could say it's 50-50 to be honest. It's pretty equal. This is agreeable. I'm gonna say it's agreeable. It's not like crazy wrong. I'd say right now we're pretty equal, because if you include the fact that Gold Frieza ruined PvP, on top of the fact that when he released as an Annie headliner that he was so mid, he wasn't even top 3, maybe not even top 4. I think that changes people's perspectives, but people forget because of how like good they looked. I think that's a big factor. PvP right now is the best it's ever been. So I can say it's super agreeable, but also super disagreeable. The Ultra, I think nothing would, for me anyways, nothing's clearing Ultra Vegito Blue, but I think the PvP aspect and the gameplay of the way the game is being played with teams and the meta will make the opinion rock solid at cool festivals better than the Anniversary. So I'd say it's up to the Ultra, to be honest, whatever's in part 3. But for me, I'm already stuck with Ultra Vegeta Blue. I don't think they could drop anything else that could really like take me over the moon. I'm good on that, but I think if you go either way for this one, it's fine. Like I wouldn't even debate someone. I'll be like, okay, that's fair. If you disagree, or if you agree, I'll be like, that's also fair. This one here, I feel like this one is super copium, right? And I'm gonna say it's disagreeable. Ultra Rose is still top 10 in the team with UVB. On his team with UVB, he's not even a top 3 member. So we're talking future, right? Ultra Vegito Blue, Sword of Hope Trunks, and the Purple Cell. He's not even top 3 on his own team. And those 3 spaces, Cell and Sword of Hope Trunks, are barely making the top 10. So there's no reason for Rose to make the top 10. Let's really process that. The Rose is just a drop combo merchant. If he does get the drop combos and enemy switches, then cool. He's gonna do crazy damage, and he's gonna actually extend his combos because he gets draw speed, and if he fills up his gauge, that's good as well. But then at the same time, the damage isn't as high as it used to be, so there's no reason to really respect him. I shouldn't have even spent this much time really just saying no, this is not the case. Just because he's with UVB doesn't mean he can just slide up there. Sorry about that, this is disagreeable. But let's spit some crazy facts about this one here. UGB is the best aged unit in the game. I agree with this one 100%. I think this is mostly agreeable. He's been in the game for over a year now, or maybe about a year, right? He is insane. The way his gauge works allows him to prolong his life. He's able to rise and rush and nullify endurance. He gets his vanish back on rise and rush. After 60 timer counts, he becomes a combo demon. He does more damage. His costs go low when he uses cards, I believe. He gets card draw speed, so combo demon. He gets his vanish back from green. He goes type neutral from green. He spawns a blue from green. His counter gives him a blue. Type neutral when his gauge gets filled. There's so much in his kit. Destroying cards on the main, the ultimate, the blue spawns are insane, and he's on an insane team. So overall, he just has insane survivability. I even made a tweet about this, which is why I strongly agree with this. Let me even try to bring it up. Currently the best aged unit in the game, hangs with the top tier units in the game after 60 timer counts, and 9 out of 10, because of the way his gauge counter works, he's making it to that 60 timer count. People really like this opinion, I feel. I made this a couple days ago before I'm doing this video. This was on the 16th. Today is the 18th that I'm recording this. So yeah, that's a W take, man. That's a W take. This one here, no longer good defensively. I've seen a lot of people putting up this opinion, right? And I asked people on Twitter about it as well because I made a take about it. And I feel he is still good defensively from the ones I fight. So that's just my personal experience. But a lot of people feel like he isn't good defensively. He still does what he needs to do in his kit with his utility and the way his gauge works. But if you're really just attacking him, you can break him down pretty easily, and I feel a lot of people are seeing that. But maybe because there's obviously Evoken in the meta and Baku as well now, so a lot of people have like greens that put fear in 17's heart. He's trying to survive how UVB's been surviving all these blues, but he's not UVB. That's glazed, but I'm making my point because people using UVB like there's no tomorrow. 17's facing relegation from top 3 to top 4 to top 5. People are trying to say he's not top 10, but I disagree because he still has use. But this statement here from Digalo, Void Prime, I have to agree. I have to agree. People swayed me, to be honest. From the ones I fight, I don't fight weak 17s. I just don't. Maybe I'm just unlucky. Maybe my ranked PvP experience is tough. But 17 holds up pretty well when I fight them. But a lot of people agree with this one from what the tweets I've been making recently, so I have to say mostly agreeable. This is going to be the last one for the video, and we got it from Lost Void 101 Zero. Ultras are meant for bad players to make the game easier. I just feel like this is a cope. Like, it's a stupid cope because everybody has access to all the players. Ultras are meant to just be something that has a higher level mechanical gimmick. They're meant to be higher rarity, so they have more value. If the game releasing units that are more value means, and you want to use them, that means you're bad. That's insane. It's like if somebody gets rich and you're like, oh, you're just a loser anyways. Like, bro, I just obtained something rare, you know? Like I'm 1% of people in the world that have this amount of money, or I'm 1% of people that have an ultra, which is the highest rarity in the game, and now I'm bad at the game for it, so it makes it easier for me, even though I wanted that. Like, it's weird. It's a weird take. I just think it's a stupid weird take, man. I can't agree with this. People that say this is seriously coping. You're seriously coping, man. I just can't agree. Well, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you guys thought about anything in that video, anything that specifically stood out for you. There's probably one take in there that you felt like, oh, whoa, Zach was tripping, or maybe the opinion was super correct and you want to really emphasize that. So let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Hopefully I can do more videos like this in the future. Like I said, follow me on Twitter, press the subscribe button as well. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. But that's all I've got to say for this video. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.